Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Manifusion here with special guest, Let's Party 132.
Yo.
And
Zealander.
Yeah, this guy.
So we're going to do a special post-pre-release of Shadows of Innistrad Magic the Gathering podcast after I, Manifusion, have just completed top 4 in the pre-release. And these guys haven't played Magic since cons, so we're gonna have fun here.
Can we have a small little party noise, like, followed with the red balloon scrolling left and right throughout the screen?
I just imagine this. Oh no, I was just hearing like the cheer from Halo, the grunts.
No, that's okay. Cool. Thanks for the editing. All right, cool. Continue.
Of course, thank you.
I'm just saying.
I just put like an extra hour of work for you just to find that balloon and do the.
Yeah, thanks for that. Okay, so anyway,
Sorry, go ahead.
I really felt that I had won the draft or the sealed pool before actually playing any of my games, because when I was opening my packs, I pulled 2 really good Planeswalkers. First of all, I just pulled Arlen Cord, like, first pack, and was like, holy shit, I just got a really good Planeswalker. It really wanted me to force red-green. So Arlen Cord is this new werewolf Planeswalker that reads for 2, 1 red, and 1 green. It can +1 for until end of turn, up to 1 target creature gets +2/+2 and Vigilance and Haste. By the way, super relevant in my games.
Yep.
Or it can 0 for put a 2/2 green wolf token onto the battlefield and transform her. Not flip her, mind you. Transform. And then, by the way, she comes in with 3 loyalty, which is really good already for what her effects are. Because once she's flipped, she can +1 for creatures you control get +1/+1 and gain trample until end of turn.
Nice.
So basically, boards swing into you are dead. Or -1, and she does 3 damage to target creature or player. So she lightning bolts.
Okay.
That's
a lot of damage.
For -1, and she starts at 3.
That's
so
a lot of damage.
in sealed, that's just like, by the way, your guy's dead, and him, and I got value. Or you can -6 and get an emblem that says creatures you control have haste, and tap this creature deals damage equal to its power to target creature or player. So it turns all your creatures into massive bolts.
So each creature becomes hasted and a savage punch.
Basically
becomes that
better.
parapet wall.
Yeah, except better because it's its power. And by my deck, you'll see how that would be amazing.
Okay.
Like, I got her up to 8 once, but unfortunately, my opponent conceded before I could ultimate her. As you might have guessed.
Yeah.
Okay, so the other Planeswalker I pulled, which unfortunately is the exact opposite colors.
Put that up right now. Thank you very much.
Yes, is Box Art Sorin, also known as Sorin Grim Nemesis.
It is the ugliest card I have seen in the game since the original Nicobolas. Continue.
Yeah.
While I do not like to condone trashing art, I do feel that it wasn't their best.
That's exactly what the face. That's exactly how. He's like, I'm sorry, I'm a vampire. I took your blood and your.
The funniest part, I think, the face is, one of the best part of the character art. It's the armor that really gets me. It's like, are you pillow shading that seriously? Like, that's what it feels like.
Yeah, zoom in on that. Zoom
Pillow
in once
shading?
more. Zoom in
Stop
one more time.
adding editing things to me, please.
Okay, I'll stop.
Okay,
Pillow shading?
So it's an art thing.
Okay.
It's the way that you shade a picture to make it not realistic.
But seriously, just look at that. Look at it. It's just.
Okay, so for 4 generic, a white and a black, you get a 6 loyalty Planeswalker that says +1, reveal the top card of your library and put that card into your hand. Each opponent loses life equal to its converted mana cost.
Okay.
So 6 mana for +1, draw a card, burn your opponent maybe.
Okay.
Note that if it's a land, you don't actually burn them. You just get a land. Then -X. Sorin Grim Nemesis deals X damage to target creature or Planeswalker and you gain X life.
Okay. Like
So,
vampire things.
So, kill
life.
their thing on board. Okay. Then -9.
That's going to be a while.
Put a number of 1/1 Black Vampire Knight creatures tokens with lifelink onto the battlefield equal to the highest life total among all players.
Wait, what?
By the time you play this, most likely people aren't going to be at high life. Especially in sealed, I've noticed it can go very quickly.
Yeah.
So, as you can tell, I didn't actually play white-black or to splash him because it didn't feel worth it.
Nope.
However, I did end up going red-black with one force in my deck specifically for Arlen.
Yeah, just look.
And I was able to cast her.
Very nice.
Wow.
Like 3 or 4 games.
Nice. Looking at Soren, like, it's just not very good. I could see it getting in like an EDH format.
Yeah.
Where people that naturally have high life. But the fact is that you're doing a 6-drop for no tempo.
That is the problem with it. That's why I didn't play it. It does feel like you put it on board, and if you're behind, well...
It's 6 mana, mana draw a card. That's what I'm looking at it right
most
there.
likely,
And
it's
if it's white,
6 mana to kill that one thing. Like, that's how it's going to play out.
Yeah.
Like,
to maybe kill that one thing.
In this set, most likely you'll be able to kill one thing. There's some things where it's just like, well, damn.
Well, again, you said land, so people have lands in their deck.
No, for the minus.
Oh no, I'm talking. Okay, I was thinking about the +1.
No, because that's opponent loses life. So you're most likely like if you top deck an Embercool after this, sure, it's like burn you for 15. Gotcha. But yeah,
it's the equivalent
otherwise...
of Holy Wrath from Hearthstone, which is exactly that. It's draw a card, you deal damage to equal to the cost.
Yeah, except it's 6 mana, and
Instead
you
of-
really hope that you have something on board, or they're either just going to kill him or kill you, because why not?
Yeah. Again, it's just pretty much deal damage, draw a card. That's how I feel about the card.
Deal damage, maybe.
Yeah.
The fact that it's conditional...
Yeah, in Hearthstone, you can Holy Wrath face for 20 if you hit a Molten Giant.
See, like,
But
this,
otherwise you might hit one
this
drop.
effect would be fine if it was like a 4-drop. The fact that it's a 6-drop
Terrible.
makes it really hard to
Especially
play
in those
constructed.
colors. If it was green, yeah, maybe. But
Okay, consider it this way. Back when you were playing, like, the endgame Planeswalker that you would play was Elspeth, in which you make 3 1/1 tokens on the field.
yeah,
it could wipe the board of anything big.
It generated at its own tempo.
It was so good at that. This?
No.
No.
No. That one, you can create a wolf token straight off the bat to block. as
That
well.
one being Arlen. Remember,
Arlen.
you wanted to do a non-video.
Yeah,
podcast.
honestly, because we're not very nice to look at. And
Hey, I mean, you got the 2 prettiest people in the group, and I'm sorry.
yeah,
I know, I get it.
there's a gap.
Okay, so
I'll take it.
I'm gonna... You would. Okay, so as I mentioned...
But yeah, that's 9. The ultimate thing on that, that just feels really. The only way it comes,
It's
ultimate.
terrible.
The only way it would ever. I mean, even me from the non-magic side, the only way I could even see it having any worth is it has to be like a good size, a multi-person battle. That's the only because it's total
Again,
one. So that'd
like
be
I told
multiple
you, like
people.
EDH.
That would
No,
be
no,
a
no.
big thing.
Of the highest. Not total. Of the highest.
So if someone has 15 health,
So, say you're playing a black-white life gain deck. Like,
Highest life
like
total.
you like
oh,
to
okay.
play.
I thought it meant highest. I thought it meant of all
if
the
you're
players.
at like
because-
56 life, sure.
Okay, I thought it was talking among the
Might
highest
as well
total
just play
of
a scroll
everything.
deck,
That was
though, if you
combining
wanna just
everything.
create
The
tokens.
funny thing about that is that card would probably be great for Tony because he likes to play Soul Wardens and stuff, so it gains a bunch of life. It's like put a 56
Oh, yeah.
tokens on the
So
field.
he doesn't
gain
block.
56 life.
Well,
doesn't
I
block.
don't have blockers.
yeah, you never block,
I don't
so it's
have-
gonna
I need
die.
some-
Just
I
because
need
Tony
something-
doesn't play his deck right doesn't mean
I
that
need
it's not
something to
possible.
summon blockers. I need like a dispense.
That's what
I need,
Elspeth does.
I need like
That's
yeah,
black-white tokens.
yeah. I need disposable tokens like squirrels.
Okay, let's get back on top. Okay, so I felt that my pool, like, I really wanted to go red-green because I had some really good, like, I had a Planeswalker and I had decent rares in red,
Yeah.
but my green was just shite. Like,
It
I had
happens.
2 playables
Yeah.
that I'd feel like, this is a good card to play. The rest were just like, I'd only be playing this because I want to play green, and you can't force it.
No, you can't. So you ended up going black.
So I figured I had really good removal in black and decent creatures
All
that
right,
I
before
felt.
we continue, put up the just a small deck list while we're talking about this shit, just the names, because for the people who actually do play Magic will know what's going on. People who don't,
You know, that's actually a good idea.
Yeah.
To have a deck list.
put up the deck list right now. All right, cool. So,
Yeah, okay. So, I'm gonna just touch on some key cards that I felt were just total value for me.
yeah, let's just go through the highs. You don't have to go through every single one because there's probably some like basic cards. Let's just go with the ones that actually.
Oh yeah, this is sealed. There's mini basics.
Yeah, let's just go through the ones that actually were the
Okay,
defining
so-
characters.
So let's start with the 1-drops. Surprisingly, one of my favorite cards for getting through, or for anything that doesn't have evasion, and why you should always play evasive creatures. Sanitarium Skeleton. Sanitarium Skeleton is a 1 black mana 1/2 that says pay 2 and a black, return Sanitarium Skeleton from your graveyard to your hand.
Huh.
So basically what would happen in any games that I had mana is play Sanitarium Skeleton, and they swing with their 5/6. Block. Tap to get it back to my hand. Play it the next turn. Incidentally, it's also really good against werewolves, because if you keep playing him, they can't flip their werewolves, because you keep casting spells.
Oh, yeah, I remember.
And he's a 1-drop, so if you play him and something else, you can flip werewolves back. So it lets you keep a lot of tempo if they keep trying to attack you.
Yeah.
And so eventually you play this, and your opponent's just like, well, I have no good attacks. Screw it. I'm not going to attack into that. That's just worse for me. So actually did a lot more work than I thought he would.
All right.
Like, just having the one of that saved me games.
All right, let's go to the next one.
Okay, a card that actually did really well. I only was able to play it like twice in all my games, or draw it, I should say.
All right.
But this is probably one of the best equipment in the set. It's Neglected Heirloom. It's a 1 mana equipment that gives +1/+1.
Equip 1.
And equip 1. Like, already, that's pretty fair.
Yeah.
That's for equipment, you don't really get good equipment in
No.
Standard. That's just not a thing they do anymore.
No, because equipment's too good.
But it has this upside that's amazing, that when equipped creature transforms, it transforms too. It transforms into Ashmouth Blade. Equipped creature gets +3/+3 and has first strike. With equip 3.
They
But-
keep the equipment, yeah.
But with Transform, the nice thing is it's not a new entity, so it keeps the equipment on. So what I would end up having is like a shitty Transform creature, but when it transforms, instantly becomes a 7/7 first strike, and my opponent's just like,
Holy crap.
how the hell do I deal with that?
Yeah.
Like, it
And
makes your opponents
the thing
have no
about the
good blocks
Ashmouth Blade
anymore.
is that it doesn't transform back when the creature transforms.
Oh yes, and the best part, even if the creature transforms, it doesn't transform back.
Yes.
It's like yield flip cards. It never goes back.
Yeah, that's good. That's just good value because it's an equip card that basically, if you have the right deck for it, you put it down, you equip it for 1. You can equip it for 1, or you place it down for 1, but equip 3, get 3/3/3 first strike, and it always stays there. So
Yes.
with things like Sanitarium Skeleton, you'd be like, oh, cool.
Yeah, I just have a decent blocker. You can't attack well into
Yeah.
me. Especially if it's flipped, it's just like, okay. I now have this 4/5 with first strike.
Yeah, you get it. You get it to at least.
And if you kill it, I'll just do it again.
Yeah,
you get-
Come at me,
it's
bro.
basically you do your return and then spend 4 mana to get it back. Whoop-dee.
But yeah,
And especially in a format like Sealed, things don't necessarily have more than 4 health.
well, removal is generally terrible. The first strike is super relevant.
Yeah.
And you're usually just running a lot of dirtily creatures.
Yeah.
Like, you don't necessarily get to value. Okay, so let's move on to the 2-drops. One of the creatures new to the set, Gibbering Fiend. It's a 1 and a red. When Gibbering Fiend enters the battlefield, it deals 1 damage to each opponent.
Okay.
It has Delirium, which is a new mechanic for the set that says, at the beginning of each opponent's upkeep, if there are 4 or more card types among cards in your graveyard, Gibbering Fiend deals 1 damage to that player.
So it does 1 at the start and 1 to
One
each
when you
person
play
every
it.
turn.
And then during each of their upkeeps, if you have Delirium, which with this deck is pretty easy to maintain, it just keeps doing damage to them. It's a 2/1 that sits on board and says, ha, I'm just gonna hit you. And see, with Sealed, you end up having a lot of board stalls, which ends up being, okay, I'm just going to wait until this burns you out. Or you have to deal with my 2/1 and waste your removal.
And removals, again, like you said,
And
very hard.
yeah, for seal stuff, it's very valuable. You can't afford to use it on something that small, and you're going to be out of it because you have such a limited amount.
Yeah, like, the best removal that I've seen for that would be something like the Red Dual Shot, which I had 2 of, which says do 1 damage to 2 target creatures. Or up to 2 target creatures. So you can just be like, kill that and that, if
Nice.
they have 1 toughness things. which there actually isn't as many in certain colors as you would expect. Like, a lot of my stuff ended up having a 2 toughness at least.
I noticed you have a rat card in there. Is that any decent?
Oh, yes! This is actually one of the...
Sorry to go for the Fiend, but I love rat cards. I made rat decks.
No, this is basically a semi-upgraded version of Typhoid Rats. It's called Rancid Rats. It's 1 and a black. It has a new mechanic called Skulk, saying this creature can't be blocked by creatures with greater power than it. So anything with more than 1 power can't block it. So you can always force some damage if you want to. And it has this upside on defense called Death Touch. As when it does damage to something, it will kill it. Or destroy it.
Nice.
Which, by the way, if you can give this +3/+0 and First Strike, which I have an equipment that does that at flash speed, it basically just says, you can't block this. Or if you do, your guy dies. Or you can't attack into me, because if you do, you lose your team.
Jeez, nice. That is terrifying.
And as a true drop, it's really good to just put on early and make them not want to attack into you.
I mean, that was the benefit of Typhoid Rat in general, was just to have this one drop that, well, do you really want to push into this?
Yeah, it definitely worked out in my favor. Okay, so this next card was one of my red rares called Scourge Wolf. For 2 red, it says it's a wolf horror that's a 2/2 that has First Strike. But it has this upside of Delirium, which if you have Delirium, it gets Double Strike instead. Woo! Super relevant, right?
That's exactly what I would play, actually.
Wait. Yeah, it's super aggressive, and First Strike is also really good. Not to mention with the equipment or with...
And if they don't block it, it's basically a 4/2 for 2, which is super value.
I did not know there was a Double Strike in this game.
Oh, there's lots of Double Strike.
Dude, my freaking hero.
Oh, yeah, you're right. You guys just had that. Never mind.
What the fuck? He's the star of my team.
Yeah, remember, I usually don't fight your guys, so I don't ignore it. I just throw someone under the bus at it.
True, you don't give your guys trample. You can just throw stuff under the butt.
Oh, no, I give it immunity and kill you in 1 hit, yeah.
To be fair, if he's dead at that point, he doesn't care about Double Strike. He's just like...
I either have enough life to spare it, or I just throw someone. So, yeah, it's never been that relevant towards me.
So, as you might be able to tell, I was playing more of an aggressive deck. Or at least trying to.
Oh, yeah. It's...
Or setting up just turn 1 turn kills kind of thing. And so, Magmatic Chasm. Creatures without flying can't block this turn.
Nice.
So what I'd end up doing is having a board full of like 5/2s and 5/3s.
Yeah.
And
low health, high
and swing face.
So eventually, there's this one match where my opponent got me down to 6 life. I stabilized the board. And I made it so he couldn't block. I swung in. I did 11 damage in 1 turn.
Yep.
He played a bunch of blockers. I had this other card, which will be a 3-drop, called Breakneck Writer.
Put that up right now, thank you.
Breakneck Writer, 1 and 2 red. At the beginning of each upkeep, if no spells were cast, transform it. It's a 3/3. It's a werewolf. But when it transforms, it becomes Neckbreaker. Attacking creatures you control get +1/+0 and have trample.
Nice.
And the funny thing is, my opponent had cast a card that says this creature can't attack, block, or transform. So, as it was Neckbreaker. So, no matter what, he couldn't make this flip back over, or transform back over, because it can't transform.
Okay, so the transforming cards, basically any spell...
Specifically werewolves.
Okay, so the werewolf ones. The spells turn them back to basic humans.
If you cast 2 or more spells.
2 or more spells. So basically,
if a player specifically.
So you have so the one person has to get, not over everybody's turn.
Yes. So one player has to play 2 spells.
So even in a multiplayer match, it doesn't matter. The single person has to cast 2.
Yes,
and that turns them back
relevant.
to basic. Okay, and that's why that's especially why you have your skeleton. That's 1 spell.
Yes.
Okay.
But yeah, because Neckbreaker couldn't transform, I had a 5/3. And my rats with an enchantment on it that gave it +3/+0 and First Strike. And basically just crunched him for like 12 or so. And so I 2-shot him.
Nice.
It worked out really well. But yeah, that card is actually really amazing if you can afford to have the double red cost.
Also just noting it because
I'm guessing
this is my side. I just now noticed that the transforming ones have a symbol specifying that they're transforming. I just noticed that now.
Yes, the sun and the
Yeah,
moon.
it took me a while to notice that. I was wondering.
You require it to play sleeves whenever you do transform cards, right?
Or use the checklist card,
Yeah.
which was relevant for people who used Ultra Pro sleeves, because you could see through the back.
What's a checklist card?
It's this card that
Put it up
basically
right now.
is a checklist of different creatures.
It's a proxy.
It says which
It's
one's
a proxy.
So it says which one's transformed.
Yeah, it's basically a proxy that comes in the pack that you mark down saying what it is, and then you can write the power and toughness. So that you can... Because if you're not playing sleeves, having a double-faced card in your deck is kind of cheating.
So you have one more card specifically meant for that transforming card.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then you switch that out with the actual card when you're playing. It's a way to make it so you can actually draft or sealed with.
Yeah.
What do you mean swap it out?
So say you play the checklist card in your deck. When you play that card, you can swap it out for the double-faced. Because the double-faced wouldn't be in your deck, because otherwise
illegal.
it upside down is just like...
Oh, okay, I get what you're saying.
card.
I get what you're saying. So you have the sleeve one there, and then you have the extra card just on the side, basically not sleeved at all, and you play it down there.
Cool.
I get you now.
Let's continue.
Okay. Gotcha.
Okay, so Fiery Temper, well, the madness generally only happened when I was discarding the hand size in the format, because madness doesn't seem very good and limited. It was actually super relevant to just have a bolt. I mean, it was 3 mana for 3 damage, which...
Honestly, it's pretty terrible, because there's no red.
It's terrible. And yeah, the double red was a huge issue for my deck. But the times that it was good, it won me the game, almost.
Yeah.
It finished off my opponent, which felt really good, or it killed the key creature that was causing me issues. It was basically a second removal that might have the upside of only casting for 1.
So for the
There's
madness...
still instant speed, though.
For madness effects, when you say discard this card, that means you use this discard effect, or not a
Anything that causes you to discard it.
So casting it.
No, that's not discarding.
Okay.
No, discard is a card that says discard a card from your hand.
Like Thoughtsteal.
Or if you have to discard due to hand size at the end of turn, that is discarding as well.
Okay.
And that was super relevant, where I'm just like, okay, I'm not going to play this spell, because it will have me at 8 cards, and I can discard to bolt your guy.
Okay, yeah.
And yeah, in Madness doesn't seem as good unless you have a lot of cards that support it, and having a lot of cards that support it doesn't seem like a good idea.
No, it's a mechanic that it comes in handy once in a while.
It was good in the last Innistrad block when you had like 0 casting cost Madness cards.
Yeah.
But in this block, it might be good in Constructed, but in Sealed, it was just
garbage. Gotcha.
It did its thing.
Alright. Continue on.
Okay, so my other rare for red, that's 3-drop, Sin Prodder.
Bloop.
It has a lot of people going, oh, this is shitty, or this is great. In my experience, it has been both. Because the problem is...
It's a 3 mana, 3/2?
It's a 2 mana... It's a 2 and a red for a 3/2 with Menace. But its special effect is, at the beginning of your upkeep, reveal the top card of your library. Any opponent may have that you put that card into your graveyard. If a player does, Sin Prodder deals damage equal to its converted mana cost. Otherwise, put that card into your hand. So basically, you draw a card, or your opponent takes damage, is how it's supposed to go. Except the first game I played this, on turn 3, I had... Again, every single game I've played, I had Arlinn Kor in my opening hand.
Okay.
So I was stuck on 3 lands, and the first time I played this, the first card I drew was my 1 forest in my deck.
Oops.
My opponent's just like, yeah, I'm gonna bin that. It feels terrible when they bin land, especially if you need it.
And when you have 1 copy.
Especially when you don't have any more land in like the top 5 cards of your deck, and you just play the entire game at 3 mana. That didn't feel so good.
No.
Otherwise, the thing is, if they're binning actual cards that have converted mana cost, the damage that it's doing is super relevant.
Very nice.
But yeah, the lands part kind of feels shitty, so I'd imagine you would play this in a deck that's running a low land count.
Yeah, or an aggressive deck that doesn't need many lands.
The problem is, like, an aggressive deck, you're not bolting for much, so it also feels bad.
Oh.
So that's why a lot of people are just like, I don't think it's constructed playable.
Mid-range, maybe?
Again, it doesn't feel like it fits mid-range, because a 3-drop that does this effect doesn't seem that great. Especially compared to all the other 3-drops.
Okay.
Like, compare it to Goblin Rabblemaster from M15.
That thing was ridiculous.
That was the kind of 3-drop you would want to play.
Okay.
This, like, in comparison,
That was basically the
This is
equivalent
not
of
as much
Ragnaros
value.
for a 3-drop.
it was really good, yeah.
All right.
Question: what is Menace?
Okay, Menace is a newer keyword mechanic that they introduced in, I think it was Origins. It technically existed beforehand, but they actually gave it a name now. It basically says that you require 2 or more creatures to block this.
Okay.
Okay.
So, yeah, you can't block it with a single creature, so if they only have
I
one
get
on
you.
board, you can attack, and
Yeah.
they can't block it. Which is really nice.
Because it always trades for 2 for 1 most of the time.
It lets you put yourself in a favorable position, and it's a sort of evasion that creatures without evasion can actually get.
Yeah.
Or that normally can't.
Okay.
Like, you don't see red flyers,
Yeah.
typically, unless they're dragons. This lets you have lobies that can actually
Alright.
swing through.
All right, continue on.
Okay, so here's an uncommon that, while I never got to actually flip her, if you do, is really good. Her name is Kindly Stranger.
Nope.
She's a sweet old lady, right, Tony? She's a 2 and a black for a human that has 2/3, which, in limited, decent stat line, right?
Yeah,
Then, the special part, Delirium. You pay 2 and a black, and you can transform her. So, she becomes a demon-possessed witch. Right, Tony? Your kind of girl? That
Sure.
is a human shaman, that's a 4/3, that says, when this creature transforms into demon-possessed witch, you may destroy target creature.
nice.
Oh.
So, it's just good removal on a creature body that also transforms and can flip my blade.
And it doesn't transform back, so it's a one-use thing, kind of.
Yes, and it
And
only
it's a
transforms
4/3
once.
still. That's still
Unless
pretty
you
good.
can, can you reclaim it back to your hand? And
Unless
recast
you
it?
get it back to your hand or flicker it,
Which
which means, exile it and then return it.
Yeah.
Which I see you do have ways of getting it back.
Oh yes, I do actually have ways to get creatures back,
I was
which was relevant during my games.
I've been looking at that card for a while.
All right, put it
I
back. Put
actually
it up,
find
put it up.
that
Okay, I'll be honest, I love the art for this one.
I love the art, and that's actually, and even for me, coming from other games, that's really good for the costs of
Yeah.
it. That's really good of
Okay.
the costs.
So, Macabre Waltz. It's a 1 and a black sorcery card that says return up to 2 target creature cards from your graveyard to your hand and then discard a card.
That's
That's
ridiculous.
really good.
Okay, so this is what ended up happening to me. I had a lot of little dudes on board. I had my skeleton, of course. And so I swung in, knowing that my opponent would want to make trades. And so they traded off their guys. My guys died. I immediately play this, discard a mountain, get my guys back, then play each of them. Get my skeleton back, play him because he's so cheap. And then just like, I got my board back. Go.
Yeah,
Like, especially when you have value creatures.
Okay, and draw 2, ditch 1 for 2 is just
that is
fantastic.
amazing.
That is
No,
Weiss
That's
level.
Weiss level.
It's
and
not only
we,
draw 2 though. It's basically tutor 2 things that you've already played.
No,
Yeah.
that's saying that's just like for my side coming from Weiss, draw 2, ditch 1. That's amazing. That is fantastic.
That is
to have.
end game level. That's level 3 in our game.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that is
That's an
and
endgame
this
move.
is basically
And
around.
it's a common.
What the fuck?
That is so,
Like,
and the card is beautiful.
It's one of those things though where it's like it only gives you value towards the end of the game.
It's
or
no
later
tempo.
on.
The problem
It's-
is
yeah.
it's no tempo card. It's specifically hand advantage, but
When you need that for what it is, when you get to that point, the cost of it is stupidly low. That it's
Yeah.
amazing.
Oh, don't get me wrong. It can be amazing in the
I
right
can imagine
circumstances.
putting
Especially when you're drawing a bunch of blanks and you're just like, these cards do nothing. Oh, I'm gonna get my 2 good cards that do stuff
Yeah,
back.
it's just
that would.
The funniest part about when I played it, what ended up happening is I had Delirium because there's creatures in my graveyard,
yeah.
but I got all my creatures back.
Oh,
And so, but the mountain I discarded gave me Delirium again.
hey.
And so the creature I got back was like Scourge Wolf.
Oh, nice.
And so it's like, I got my double strike guy back. Suck it.
Yay! All right, let's continue
I
on.
can see putting that in my old deck,
Oh yeah, it was definitely fun.
and it's beautiful.
Well, yeah, it's just I could put that in any one of my
And
black decks.
just,
because-
I mean, look at it; it's beautiful.
It is
I mean,
kinda
I do like the art. Well, this is not the best art of Liliana as far as, oh my gosh, she's my
I
hype
don't know.
waifu.
I don't know. It still looks good there, really good.
It is absolutely adorable.
Is it the same girl as from?
No, that's
That's
different. That's
okay.
not Liliana.
No.
That's just a mage.
Right.
No, Liliana is the planeswalker.
sorry about that.
No, saying that. That one's literally Liliana. This one's not.
That's literally the planeswalker, Liliana.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Innistrad is her jam.
The whatchamacallit, the flavor text mentions it.
Yeah.
Because she's saying she doesn't she doesn't let somebody else lead her.
Okay, here.
That's why.
Oh, I see the
Yeah, the veil. Yeah, the flavor text says Liliana is never one to follow someone else's lead, and she's dancing with a corpse
Nice.
and basically manhandling him. He's just kind of there like a ragdoll.
All right, let's continue.
Okay, so against aggressive decks with a lot of X1s, X power, whatever, and 1 toughness, this card actually put in a lot of work. Like, it was scary enough that my opponent's like, yeah, I'm gonna have to kill that. And anything that my opponent wastes removal on that's not my big dudes that want to punch you in the face, I'm okay with.
Yeah.
So, Tooth Collector is a 2 and a black, 3/2, which, okay, that's basically how the stat line goes for this cost.
Yeah.
But when it enters the battlefield, target creature an opponent controls gets -1/-1 until end of turn.
Oh, yay.
So, first of all, it can just kill a dude or shrink it. Great.
Yeah.
But it has this upside of Delirium. At the beginning of each opponent's upkeep, target creature that player controls gets -1/-1 until end of turn. So basically, during your opponent's upkeep, you can either kill one of their weak dudes, or you can shrink their guy to make it so they can't attack favorably into you.
That's
Which
ridiculous.
gets super relevant with all the big baddies.
You have to get rid of it no matter what.
It's one of those things where if we're at board parity and there's a board stall, that's going to be putting in some work and making you either not want to attack or make you want to kill it immediately. Which, as I've mentioned, the removal is, like, there's actually one really good one in green. There's decent ones in white. There's...
Sorry, that's a creaky-ass couch.
There's some in red that are okay, but they're usually rare or uncommon. And then there's a lot of shitty ones in black that are just overcosted. Okay, yes.
No.
Question.
I'm just trying to process it. So, at the beginning of each opponent's turn, upkeep. When they say end of turn, they mean that player's turn, right? Or they mean the cycle.
Wait, what do you mean?
I'm
No,
thinking
end of
for
turn is end of
multi-turn.
turn.
I'm thinking for multi. Okay, so yeah, okay.
No,
So,
it's at the end of turn.
okay, so it's
Like, that's literally a phase. Like, it goes...
So when you play
Untap,
so
upkeep.
when you play this card in a 1v1 situation, this almost always guarantees that you're gonna against gets of enemies that you're just gonna ping 2 things off.
Well, you're gonna shrink it, at least. And if they only have 1 toughness, it will die.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's a double ping for that at least.
Well, it's 1 on your turn when you play it.
Yeah,
Then
and
it's each time on your opponent's turn.
yeah,
if you have Delirium.
like when they start their turn,
Yeah.
it'll just pink dead. Yeah. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's one of those
Just-
things where I played against an opponent playing spirits, and it just made him not want to play things because all his stuff was like 2/1s. And he had like a bunch of 1/1 tokens, and it's just like, yeah, and on your turn, that will die now.
Very
It's-
nice.
But yeah, it actually did put in quite a bit of work. Okay, so one of my favorite enchantments in the deck, and one I definitely say is worth playing if you can get up to 4 mana, is this red card for 3 and a red called Spiteful Motives. It has flash, saying that you can cast it at any time, that you could cast an instant. It's an enchant creature, and enchanted creature gets +3/+0 and has first strike.
So it's just
Damn.
that's value.
So what? You attacked into my rats, thinking he would that I would trade? Nah, your guy's just dead. I still have rats. By the way, he's a 4/1.
Jesus.
I love the first strike is probably one of the biggest buffs you can give to a minion.
Yeah,
Double strike is the biggest buff in my opinion, but
if
besides
I was
evasion.
able to get past 3 lands in the one game I had lost, I would have gone 5-0 because of
Damn.
this card. Because they attacked into me, and I was stuck at 3 lands, and so I wasn't able to flash this onto my
Yeah.
rats, which would have swung the game into my favor. But, it sometimes you just can't get there.
Yeah.
But that card has won me so many of my matches just because of the surprise out of nowhere your guy's dead.
Alright, so we get to the end of your curve over here.
We're getting at the top of the curve. Like, I ran these 2 throttles, which is 4 and a black that says target creature gets -4/-4 until end of turn. And I realized that running throttle kind of sucks. Like, it's a card that I constantly sideboarded out.
Yeah, I mean, it's okay, but for the cost,
It's like that one card before, but worse.
It's amazing in the fact that it can kill all the angels that I was worried about.
Yeah.
But the problem is, I never played against that deck.
What was that one card? It was like a 2 cost, lose 2 life, deal -5/-5. That ridiculous -5/-5 black card you could use before. Like, you could either pay the mana cost or lose 2 life or some shit like that. I forgot what it's called.
Oh, Dismember. You're talking about Modern. And it's, 4 life.
Yeah, that
or
one's...
up to 4 life.
Yeah, that one's ridiculous. This one's like a
No,
version of
that
this.
thing's broken. Like, that's Modern Superstar. Like, Phyrexian Mana stuff is just weird. Okay? Like, they don't do that anymore, sadly. But yeah, this is one of the... This is what black removal it looks like now for Limited.
Yeah.
It's... Like, it did kill important things that I wanted dead. The problem is, a lot of, like... Because it costs so much... there was turns where it's just like, oh, I can't play a spell, your werewolf flips, and now he's like a 5/6, and it can't kill him anymore.
Yeah.
It's just like, it felt super bad.
Which Dismember, by the way. I just said, put the bit up. Like, just compare these 2 cards right here. Throttle, Dismember. This is the difference of a common and a rare. Welcome to Moneybags.
Best card ever. By the way, that's not an expensive card.
No, it's really cheap. It's really cheap, and you don't even have to run black.
It's only recently gone up because of Eldrazi Winter. By the way, Modern's broken right now. Don't try it.
Yeah, that was a really... Even I own 4 copies of fucking Dismember. It's really goddamn cheap.
Yes.
It came in a starter pack.
Really?
Yeah, it came in the fucking... Like, the Rush Face pre-made deck that I ended up going 4-0 in. I bought, like, the $15 one.
That is not true. You didn't play during New Phyrexia.
No.
You're thinking of something else.
Oh, no, it came in the Modern deck that I bought. What is
that?
it?
I believe.
Yeah, Modern Masters.
The Modern event
Yeah.
deck, the blue, black-white tokens.
Yeah.
Okay, that I believe.
Yeah. Yeah, I got 2 of those. It was
I'm
enough.
surprised you're running that you have that, and you don't have any decks with Path of Exile in it. Like, what's wrong with you? You play white. Like, your thing's not in Standard anymore. You can upgrade.
Okay, yeah, I didn't think of that. But anyway, continue on.
Okay, so...
Fuck Dismember. Continue on.
So, my land base was something like...
This is the last of the card, by the way.
An even spread of...
Black and white, or black and red.
Black and red, with one forest, and 1 warped landscape, which is a common land that says tap, add a colorless mana to your mana pool, or pay 2 and tap and sacrifice it to search your library for a basic land and put it into play tapped.
Nice.
So it didn't give you lands, but it did fix for you.
Yeah.
The sad part is, I never used this to fetch my green. Like, the games that I had green, generally, I either drew into it really early.
Is a new color.
Yeah. But yeah, I either drew into the green when I needed it, or I had it in my opening hand and just like, let's see, my opening hand is Forest, Swamp, Mountain, Arland Core. Okay, I'm gonna keep that. Like, generally, I'd have enough that, yeah, I have enough low drops to make this work. Like, I would literally keep that and a dual shot, and it panned out every time I decided to keep that.
Very nice.
But yeah, the one time I did use this, sadly enough, I had to fetch for a swamp. Because I had 3 mountains in hand, and I had 2 black cards, and I'm just like...
Feels bad, man.
I guess I just will never draw into that swamp. I guess I'll go fetch for it.
Feels bad, man.
But then once I did, it felt really good because I was able to play my spells and won the game.
You gotta do what you gotta do. One thing that people have to do, they always try to, like, if cards that have effects, they usually understand and they usually play them, but the problem is that sometimes you just have to play these cards not to use the effect, but just the effect you want, but just to get what you need.
Board present. Yeah,
Board
some
presence.
people will be like, I don't want to play this because I want to maximize its value. But sometimes just having a shitty creature on the field is super important.
Like, oh yeah, I got a 4 mana 4/1 on the field, but it can't do shit. But at least I have a board presence that makes my opponent somewhat scared to take actions.
Well, yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, you have the 4/1, but now your opponent doesn't want to block because they don't want to attack because they don't want to trade off their good creature.
Yeah.
And hey, look, you cast a spell, meaning that your opponent's werewolf doesn't flip and wreck your face.
Yeah.
Which again, super
sometimes
relevant.
you really, really have to just
Dude, there were sometimes
make ineffective plays, especially when when werewolves are in standard or in the format. You have to make ineffective plays in order to keep your opponent crippled.
Okay, literally one of the plays I had to do was empty board or my board was relatively empty. My opponent had a werewolf on the play. He had flipped. They were big, and so the optimal play for me to do was actually to play my skeleton and then to play a magmatic chasm to make his thing flip, because that way I was actually able to remove it the next turn.
Because you gotta make, when cards like these, you just have to make the ineffective plays to make them effective.
Yeah, because
your next
some of the werewolves, like the Breakneck Writer I showed you, just make it so you die really fast.
Yeah,
because it gives your opponents attacking creatures +1 and trample.
Yeah, so you always have to make sure.
Oh, by the way, you hit me for 7. Shit,
so you have to play
dying.
something every single, basically.
That time I actually had to play the 2 spells just to make it flip, so that I could remove it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I had to play Magmatic Chasm into a and not attack, basically.
Yeah.
Like that was my situation, and you know what? It panned out.
Yeah,
it worked really well.
That's what ends up happening. All right, that was the.
All
right, we saw one more.
I wanted to save the Planeswalker for last because
Okay, yeah.
Well, we did talk about her, but there's some synergies and some not synergies with my opponents that made this card shine.
All right.
Okay, so literally had her in every single one of my opening hands somehow. The one copy in my deck, 40-card deck, I magically always got it.
Yep.
I didn't always get a forest, and so it felt really bad for a few of my games. But the times I did, just hands down, swayed the game in my favor.
Yeah.
Okay, so I was playing against a guy running a 5-color deck in sealed. Mm-hmm. By the way, deck was super fast. Somehow.
Yeah.
He had a lot of good fixing. He was running green as his base, so obviously he could get there. And he had Nahiri. So what ended up happening... Okay, so Nahiri...
Bloop, that's just an editing thing.
Yeah. Nahiri is a planeswalker for... I'm doing this from memory, so if I get something wrong, I'm sure I'll hear it in the comments.
Yeah.
But it's 2 white and a red for a planeswalker with however many loyalty, I don't remember. That's plus ability says discard a card, draw a card. Okay.
Yeah.
Its minus ability says destroy target tapped enchantment or destroy target enchantment or tapped artifact or creature.
Yeah.
Because enchantments generally don't tap. And its minus, its ultimate is search your library for a creature, put it into play, and at the end of turn, return it to your hand.
Nice.
Which basically says, hey, I'm going to get Emrakul here, and he's going to punch you in the face, and then I'm going to put him back in my hand so I can sneak and show him next turn. Or sneak attack him next turn. So basically what ended up happening is I played Arlen Cord. I had my my creature on the field. It was like, I think that was either the 5/3 with Menace puppy I had, or it was my rat with the whatchamacallit, the enchantment on it that gives it +3 in first strike. And so I did that, attacked, and he had a board of werewolves that he didn't want to trade off. And so he's just like, well, okay, I take it. He top decks Nahiri, plays it, and he's just like, God damn it. I can't kill your guy because he's not tapped, because it gives vigilance. Because I decided to not flip her as soon as I got her.
Yeah. So
I just ticked her up, and I kept punching him. And so what ended up happening is, okay, I had 2 things on the field. I attacked, played rats. Okay, so I had puppy first. And so I didn't attack with that, and he's just like, well, shit, okay, so I have to deal with your one guy. He kills my one guy, attacks into me. That's when I flash the thing onto the rats, block. Yeah. And so that dies. And eventually he keeps playing creatures so that I can't murder him, basically. Yeah. And so I keep swinging it to him with vigilance and ticking my guy up, get it to 8, finally decide to flip it, just like, I can ult it next turn, this is amazing.
And
then he conceded on me. So sad. But it felt so good. Like, I seriously got her up to 8. By the way, during our play session, we referred to this card as Bruce Jenner. Just look at that face.
Actually, it does look a lot like Bruce.
I know, right?
Or Caitlyn, sorry.
Is that what she goes by now?
Yeah, Kate. Is it Caitlyn or Caitlyn?
Honestly,
Caitlyn,
I don't follow
I think it's Caitlyn.
The most I know about it is South Park, and I'm pretty sure that's not a portrayal.
It does look a lot like Caitlyn Jenner. I'm not gonna fucking lie.
Like that. Yeah, like Nahiri also looks like a celebrity. I forget the name, but it does.
All right, take the picture, put it up right next to, and then put a picture of Caitlyn Jenner from that magazine shoot. Put them side by side. All right, we're good. I swear to God, it looks just like Caitlyn Jenner.
Honestly,
Yeah,
I think
I'd
it'd
have
be
to
funnier if you take the card and just Photoshop the face of Caitlyn Jenner.
You can do both. Okay, do it. All right, share the editing.
You're
of this
editing
video.
this to have fun.
Oh, great. But yeah, so
You gave yourself more work.
overall, I ended up going 4-1. The first game I played, the first matches, I literally drew 3 lands all 3 games. I lost the first one after probably like 20 or so turns. The guy just couldn't kill me. Because for most of the games, I had like turn 3 Sin Prodder.
Sorry,
But yeah, so second game, I actually got pretty aggressive after sideboard and was able to take him down. Then third game,
It's a werewolf.
we ended up going to time, and literally on the last turn, he had a haste creature that was able to do enough damage to kill me, and I wasn't able to block both his guys. And so it's just like, if I had lived that one turn, I would have drawn, and that would have put me into contention for first and second place.
Alright.
But, so yeah, that actually went surprisingly well for me.
Yeah.
I won my packs, got free pizza, pulled 2 planeswalkers. That's a
Good
pretty
day.
good re-release. Yep.
Alright. So, thank you guys for watching. Guys, this was almost a 45-minute video.
That's how podcasts about Magic the
Yeah,
Gathering go.
sounds
They're
about right.
long-winded and nothing happens.
But anyway, thank you guys for watching. I think this is going to be on your channel, right?
Probably.
Alright.
This is Manifusion with Let's Party 132 and Zlander.
Yep.
Alright.
With a future man in the background. With his laugh track. And
Alright,
this
we'll
has
see
been
ya.
Magic the Gathering podcast about Shadows of Innistrad Prerelease. Thank you for watching. See you guys
Bye-bye.
next time.
See ya.
Click the link in the description for more videos. Bye-bye.
Click like and subscribe because people totally listen to that part.
Oh no, I was just saying put a fucking link to our other shit on there.
Oh
Yes,
yes, and watch miscellaneous other channel.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for the fucking plug-in, homeboy.
Hey, I'm making sure that if you guys change your name again, that we're covered. That it works. We're not doing this anything where it's like, oh no, we said the wrong name. It doesn't work anymore.
And don't forget the link to the Twitch channel in the description somewhere that may or may not have various games, including video games and board games.
Multi Smash.
Oh yes, and watch us play Smash and shit on weekends.
And possibly other
yeah.
things.
Yeah,
Possibly other
we
things.
might cut this out. Anyway, thanks you guys for watching. Bye-bye.
That was fun.
So I've been looking through the other stuff. There's so many cards in here I love.
Yes. I told
Purely
you.
the white. Purely the white. Also,
I told you
I
you
can
would
see
love
why
this
you didn't
set.
want green. The fucking werewolf there, that's terrible. That doesn't look that great.
That's actually my best card.
Which is, I don't know, like the problem is, like, I feel like that's really tough to get off.
It's not.
Really.
You play a 2-drop, then if you have nothing on turn...
looks-
Well, the problem is it's going to
Caitlyn
change,
Jenner.
and then the moment's going to turn right back.
No. It's really hard for it to turn back, because
No,
your opponent has to
seriously.
play 2 spells at
Yeah,
a
but
turn.
I'm saying all they got to do is play two
Also,
things. 'Cause basically,
That's really hard to do.
It transforms
Okay,
into a
I don't know.
werewolf.
It just seemed kind of, I don't know.
The fact that it's a
Quite appropriate.
2 cost...
It is, right?
Means you play it on turn 2 if your opponent doesn't have a turn 3 play, or a turn 2 play, then yeah.
I look straight at those and was like, these look nice. I like these.